like a condenser mic. Been using it for years. It's Akira. Oh, is that game out? Oh, it's about to be out. That's the Dark Souls Asian style. Yeah, it looks good. I'm excited. All right, you guys have questions? I got answers, hopefully. Doom Eternal. Yeah, I'm into that. I like games like that a lot.
Dude, Doom is the most like best pastime game of all time.
Doom?
Yeah, I was playing it nightmare mode like this last week, and just so much fun to just like sink hours into.
Yeah, totally. Questions?
Well, if nobody has question, I can ask. For art school, I'm looking for a tablet or something that can use as a computer, but also a tablet. I don't know if you have any recommendation.
Wait, say that again?
I'm wondering if you have any recommendation as for a computer or a tablet to draw, something that I can use for when I'll go to school.
When you go to the school?
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how much money you have.
I have a lot
What
of
is the
money.
price range you're looking at?
I can go up to 2,000, I guess.
2,000?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to that like really prestigious concept art school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or at least you're aiming to.
Yeah.
So the thing that I would say is that like you might want a laptop,
Okay.
and because I would recommend like the iPad, but that's like $1,300, right? But that's only on the promise of like you're only going to draw, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's true for the school you're going to go to. Like there might be some 3D and stuff involved, potentially.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of 3D.
Yeah, like, and I don't mean just like for like production. I mean like for most likely for also for.
Yeah, there is a class actually about including 3D in your work. So yeah,
Yeah, like putting 3D in your work. That's kind of what I mean, right? Not like, and plus you want to like have access to tools like Photoshop or anything else. Yeah, the Surface Pro is pretty good. But I have like this laptop that I have is pretty much my workstation. I don't use my big computer anymore. This is pretty much my computer that I take with me everywhere. And it can run like some pretty good 3D engines really well. It runs Unreal really well, as long as it's plugged in. If it's not plugged in, it goes like into power saving mode and it acts like my old laptop. But once it's plugged in, it's like this supercomputer. Yeah, and so I have the specific computer that I got is the Hero Strix, or sorry, not the Hero Strix. It's the Strix Scar 2, made by Asus. And yeah, I'll show you. Asus Strix 2 or Scar 2. And the one that I got, you'll see it's pretty expensive in some places. But the one that I got was from people who build PCs. I don't think it was the Excalibur guys that got built by it. But it was definitely something along the lines of this. So it was Asus. It has 32 gigs of RAM. So if I were to rebuild what I have, I don't think I can. I don't think it's possible because it's 16 gigs of RAM still. But essentially, this is all about right. Like it has the i7, it has 32 gigs, not 16. It's got 1 terabyte standard SSD card. It has one regular hard drive, and it's got the 270 RTX, and it's a 17.3-inch screen, full HD, 144 hertz, 3 milliseconds. And it's $300 more than this. So it's about $2,500. So if you save another $500, you can get what I got.
Yeah, probably.
And I was looking for months. Okay, the computer that I was about to get, but then I ultimately realized like, no, I need something that's gonna be future proof, because the RTX is like the new video cards, and they account for ray tracing. And so more and more games and projects are probably gonna have ray tracing in them. So I should have something that's enabled ray tracing, so I can make games for that. But otherwise, there's no need for it. The one I was gonna get was the MSI Modern laptop. I think it was called the Modern. Yeah, this is it. And I think it was a 17-inch one too, also at 32 gigabytes. And the reason why I was gonna get this one. Yeah, let's type in that and see if we can find. The reason why I was going to get this one, I don't know if the one I was looking at was 15-inch. I think it was also here. Let's do 32 gigabytes. Maybe it was 13-inch. I just don't, or 15 inches. I don't remember. But I built it so that it would have 2 terabytes of solid state, and that brings it up to around $2,000. God damn it, Will. And so the reason why I was going to get this, because this is actually built for like designers and stuff like that, was because it had like a 12-hour battery life or something like this.
Yeah.
And like a reliable 12-hour battery life. Okay? Not like, oh, we're 12 hours. Like, no, it's actually it's clocking itself at 16 hours of battery life, but it actually rolls at 12, actually.
So it's not like 12 when it's like on sleep mode.
No, it's like it's truly optimized, right? That's why it doesn't have like the best video card. That's why it doesn't have like the best like processor. It's all working in unison, so it feels like it's a powerhouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it isn't. But it feels like it can do some of the stuff that the big boys can do. If that makes sense. And so I was really looking at that, because I was like, yeah, that battery life, that sounds really great. But I always think about like, well, how often am I actually like not sitting down at like a desk? I really thought about that, like, or am I just like living some sort of pipe dream of like what I think I am? I'm like some sort of like, Silicon Valley dude, bro. Like, I'm not really like a tech bro, And so I ultimately realized like it was a bad choice for me. I need like a computer that can really say a lot about what I do more accurately. If that makes sense. And that's why I changed my mind. And I was starting to look at the MSI products, and then I just review after review after review, and then I found the Strix. But I was looking for months. I was researching and studying for like months. Okay.
And you can draw directly on the edges. The pen it goes well.
You can't. So it's like a laptop. It's like a pure laptop.
Okay, that's a pure laptop.
Yeah. So if you want to get like a thing that you can draw on and you can.
Well, I'm wondering if it exists, or if it's better to go with a tablet and a laptop.
Yeah. If you just want something to draw on, then an iPad all the way, right?
Yeah.
iPad Pro with Procreate is really crazy how powerful that thing is. Okay. In fact, I've done plenty of work on the iPad that is just fine. Okay. But if you want like something that's a little bit more powerful, then yeah, I think the Surface Pro is the only bet. And it's not the best option, to be honest. Okay.
I already have the Apple Pen, so I can get a Surface Pen.
Do you already have the iPad Pro?
I already have no, it's an older iPad, but it works with the pen, but it's a bit it's not stable.
Oh, what version do you have?
I don't know.
Okay.
But
Well, the one that I
won it
got
at
like
the contest.
oh, okay. Yeah, the one that I got is super dope. I use it all the time. So I love my iPad Pro. It really is a step into the future for my workflow.
Okay.
So if it's not working for you, then then you might want to like try a different device. But I'm gonna tell you right now, they don't exist yet. There's something always a little bit janky. Where laptops are finally getting to they're finally at the stage where they're like really good. You know, like this laptop um, is not that old, like the generation of it, but like the next tier of laptops, like the next laptops in the next 5 years or so, you know,
Yeah.
or not even 5 years, the next laptops in the next 2 years, you know, including Dell laptops. Like there's some Dell laptops that are like really, you know, budget laptops that are going to be freaking powerful as hell. Okay, so it's just like the computing power that we're able to get into these small devices is like increasing rapidly, you know, and it's not slowing down. Like even my phone has 6 GB of RAM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Mm.
It literally is a miniature computer. Like I can like plug it to a TV and I can plug a mouse and keyboard to it, and it works. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Like no, I'm serious. Like I can like turn it into a computer. I can work on it. Like I can program on it. Because some of the stuff that I do is like some of the engines that I use, like game engines I use, are online. So I just need to go to the website, and it works. It's insanity.
Anthony, do you worry about color calibrating your monitor?
No, I don't worry about that now.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, I paint a lot in values, and then my values are pretty consistent and strong, usually, and so it looks good on most devices. Like having strong values, it's kind of the great equalizer.
So as long as you got a good monitor, don't worry about.
Yeah, as long as it's decent. The only time that I had an issue was with Procreate and the iPad, because the iPad's quality is really good, like too good. Like it's a little elitist how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like it's judging me when I'm painting on it. Uh, but it's the brightness and all that stuff is not the same. It's not calibrated equally, and so like it is like better, like it's more vibrant, but it's too fucking vibrant that like I'm misjudging the values a lot more, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I don't really like using the iPad exclusively without like checking it onto a different monitor.
Right.
But essentially it is like it's really good though. But I'm a simpleton. You know, I don't need those fancy cars. I don't need those fancy things. Just need it to work.
You just need a stick and some dirt.
Yeah. And so that's kind of like my concern whenever I mess around with Procreate, is that like it's just too vibrant. But I account for that obviously now. I like pay attention.
Anthony, I don't know if I asked you this, but what's your opinion on like doing traditional drawing too? Because I think I told everybody that like I got like a sketchbook and I've been doing stuff like that. And like,
Cool.
do you think are they two separate skills or is there like a crossover? I mean, obviously there's crossover in the concepts.
Yeah, it's just it's a tool thing. It's not a skill thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, think of it like as a tool. Like instead of hammering a board with your hand, you're hammering it with you
Your
know,
foot.
your foot versus hammering it with the actual hammer, you know?
Yeah.
It's just tools. Like, because even within traditional medium, like, if I can paint in gouache, it doesn't mean that I can paint in oil. And if I can paint in watercolors, especially, I can't necessarily paint in oil, you know?
Right.
It's just a difference. It's just a different tool that you need to master. But whatever you learn in that tool can potentially be applied. Potentially is the key word here,
Yeah.
you know, because there might not be a connection too. Like, because with watercolor, there is like some distinguished like strategies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you should paint like your darks first type of thing. Where with oil painting, you don't necessarily have that constraint. If that makes sense. And so the point I'm making is that like that difference can be the thing that makes a difference, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that can happen, but like to the point I'm making is that it's not like it's not that far removed. It goes always back to like the idea that I always talk about, like you might know how to like play soccer as a goalie, but that doesn't mean you know how to play as the forward. It's just like two different disciplines. No, that's not true. It's tools. I'm sorry. It's focus on the tools. It's like the shoe thing. It's more like the shoe example. The other example is more relevant when it comes to like painting versus line drawing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because you could paint or do line drawing traditionally too. Again, it's the same conundrum you run into. You know?
Yeah.
So no, like traditional. For me, the way that I think about traditional, whenever I do it, is purely learning. Like a thing. Like I'm trying to get better at like design. Or I'm trying to get better at structuring like faces. Like for instance, that's probably what I'm gonna start doing. You know?
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to learn like on a principled level something. I don't really care if I draw it like a masterful drawing, like Kim Jong-gi or something. I'm just focused on the merits of what I'm trying to learn. That makes sense?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I'm focused on. I'm not focused on, am I going to try to be a badass line artist? As a consequence, you become a good line artist in general if you just become a good artist.
Right.
Because it's just a skill, and or it's just a tool. And so if you can like learn how to like translate what you've learned in your tool, you can really take advantage.
Do you think it's easier to go from learning line art to painting or vice versa?
I just think they're just too different.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like what ends up happening is if you get too comfortable in one, it makes the other one harder.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like you're so used to your process.
Yeah, it's a legacy problem. Like you're just, yeah, exactly what you just said. You become so accustomed to that process that when you try to do something different and it challenges you in ways you really don't like.
Yeah, you suck so hard. You're like, fuck this.
Yeah, it turns you off to it rather than like revealing it to you that it's awesome.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just don't ever think of it that way. Just think of it as just two different things.
No, I got it.
There might be a parallel, but like from my experience from teaching people for too many years, like it never works out the way that people are hoping. It's always detrimental to think that they help each other.
So they're the same thing, is what you're saying? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like what really helps is really the idea of like the principled concepts. That's what you want to focus in on. That's what you could take with you, like understanding forms, understanding lighting, understanding shapes. That's the stuff that comes along for the ride. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, I'm gonna end it here. I feel like line art is a great starting point because you can't cheat as much as painting. As with painting, no, it's just different. Like I think with painting, it's not like you're cheating either. It's really hard to convince people of like structural form. But what painting does is it gives people a false sense of accomplishment, like you may have done something. It feels like you've done a lot of work, and it looks like a lot of work has been done. Like if I just painted this, it's like it's just a portrait, right? But if I were to draw this in a line art, it wouldn't be that impressive, you know? But it's not that it's not impressive. It's just that there's not a lot of detail here. And then if you draw line art, if you draw something really like lightly, then it's like it feels super empty. So you have to add a lot more detail. And then when you try to paint it, then it's like really challenging because there's too much detail to paint. Or you might realize all that detail is not necessary because you could have just kept it simpler, you know? So it's just good to learn how to do both and then just decide which is going to be the best tool to use. And like I said, it's a tool. Think of it as a tool, not like as a skill.
Right.
Because if you think of it as a tool, you're always going to jeopardize yourself. Yeah. So this is the result of my studies. I feel I need more studies, but I do feel like I did learn something. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to roll out now. Thanks, you guys, for hanging in there, doing some good work. Work hard over this weekend. Push yourselves, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Later.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. Please subscribe to watch more in the future. If you like the video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. If you like this content, you can go to my website, robotpencil.net, where you can find mentorships, tutorials, and a Patreon to get more exclusive content. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in my next videos.